Hello guys, and welcome to my second webinar in the series of webinars where I'm going to try and help you understand Croatia as a destination today. We're going to be going through a lot of webinars. I hope they will be interesting to you, but today's webinar is going to focus more on the history, the food and wine, and the climate, which is going to lead into my suggestions on when to actually travel to Croatia. So I think that the best way to actually understand the history of any country, not just Croatia, is to look into the history. Croatia was influenced by so many different rulers over the past, different countries, and that left a huge impact on architecture, food and wine, the culture overall. So it is very important to see who was all influencing our country as it is today. I want to start with actually a couple facts, interesting facts, to show you how is Croatia shaping today's world. So some of the inventions we are using today, and people would not even consider living without it. We cannot even think of the life without these inventions. For example, the necktie was invented in Croatia, mechanical pencil that we use, Nikola Tesla, who was the inventor of alternative current, the system that we use today to power our homes and businesses. He was born in Croatia. Marco Polo, the world famous traveler, was born on the small island in Dalmatian coast called Korčula. Parachute was invented by Faust Vrančić. Also the fingerprint recording system, which is widely used today, was also invented in Croatia by Ivan Vučetić. And also the one interesting fact that I put in there is that Croatia actually has the smallest city in the world, and it's called Hum, and it only has 23 citizens. On the other side, I didn't put that fact in, but we also have the smallest cathedral in the world. It's actually located near Zadar, in small city, town, whatever you want to call it, called Nin. So after this interesting fact, I would like to move forward on more in depth about history on Croatia, which is going to help you, hopefully help you understand what was the country actually going through over the past, as it really is strategically well positioned in Europe. So it was a very crucial spot to rule over these territories for many invaders over the past. Croatian history actually starts in Paleolithic era, it's believed. That is actually the first time when Croatia was occupied by human beings, at that time Neanderthal men. If you go just a little bit outside of Zagreb, 35 to 40 minutes at the most, you will find a museum where they actually found over 100 pieces of bones and tools made by Neanderthal men. There is a cave which is outside, where the museum is doing a lot of workshops where you can try and start a fire with the wood and stones. You can use their tools and try to make some clothes that they were actually wearing over the past from leather. The actual museum is fully renovated, and it's very interactive and a very interesting museum, and it's actually showing the whole evolution of human beings from very beginning until today, human being as we are today. So for somebody who is into history and culture, that is definitely a place we would recommend as an easy day attraction out of Zagreb. After that, Croatia was inhabited by Illyrians and Greek tribes. I'm not going to bore you that much about that time, but after when actually Roman made appearance in 9 AD, that area was very important for Croatia, as Croatia fell under the Roman Empire. The great improvements were made in architecture, and the two most stunning architectures that are today one of the most visited and most famous sites happen to be in Pula, where you can find a Roman amphitheater, which is during the summer used for many events and concerts, and it's very, very well preserved. And then on the other side, you have Diocletian Palace, which is under the protection of UNESCO, and it's located in city center of Split. It's absolutely amazing. Also, today there's a couple of hotels that were made inside of the palace. Those are usually like smaller boutique hotels, 4 and 5 star properties, but when recommending this accommodation to your clients, it's very important to say that these were built with limitations. So the rooms are not huge, they're not spacious, but we definitely recommend this accommodation, as it gives the soul, it gives that special feeling of being inside of the city, and they're very nice property after all. So the beginning of whole Croatia and the Croatian history actually starts in 7th century, when first Croats believed actually arrived to Croatia. That is also the time when the whole Christianization in Croatia started. In 1879, that's a big year for Croatia, as Pope John VII recognized Croatia for the first time as autonomous state. At that time, that was a kingdom, and the kings ruled the country. So first king of Croatia ever was actually called Tomislav. Croatian kingdom at that time was actually going through a lot of changes, right? So the biggest change and immense after was when Byzantine Dalmatia at that time, because Dalmatia was not part of Croatia, so was annexed to Croatia in 11th century. That was a huge change for the territory and for the whole country, and that was the first time that actually Croatian language was mentioned, and from those time we see the first inscription of Croatian language as well. That medieval Croatian kingdom was present from 925 until 1102. In 1102, Croatia actually entered into the union with Hungary. Again, this territory was separated in 1428 when Republic of Venice took control over the Dalmatia again. This actually lasted for a while, and this whole 1500s were very tough for this territory. As you probably know, the Turks and the whole this territory was very much in war the whole time. So if you look at this picture on the right, that's the Suleiman the Magnificent, who is one of the most significant Turkish invaders at that time. He was the one who was the main threat for Croatian territory. So we lost territories, and actually the Hungarian Empire was destroyed, and after that the Croatia went under Habsburg monarchy. Finally in 1593 there was the most significant victory for whole Christian world in ever. The Turks were defeated in Croatia near Zagreb, actually in the city called Sisak. After that, next great event happened during the Great Turks War, where Croatia actually gained back all the territory, and by 18th century, Ottomans were almost driven out of all of the Europe. So that was a very big event that happened in 1593 when Croats actually defeated Turks near Sisak, in Sisak near Zagreb. So the 19th century, it's when the actual revolution in Croatia actually started. This was the time when first the whole idea of United States of all Slavic nation happened. So big idea of South Slavic nation to be one country happened in 1918, so 1918, when Croatia joined the state of Slovenes, Croats and Serbs. That was actually, I'm sure when we go later on you will remember the Yugoslavia, right, the big Yugoslavia. So this was actually the start of all United Nations in that region. A few decades later, after 1919, split of Yugoslavia happened when Germany and Italy occupied the territory again. Some parts of Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina merged to independent state of Croatia, while Dalmatia was occupied by Italy. This is actually the time when Ustaše were formed, and later on those people tend to have a terrible intentions against unfortunately against the Serbs. When Tito and Soviet army gained control of Yugoslavia again, they formed a partisan movement, and they gained whole control over Yugoslavia during World War II. This is actually when Croatia became the Socialist Republic unit of Yugoslavia. After Tito died, this whole region was very unstable, and this is when, not that far ago actually, we saw a huge war in Croatia for its independence. This all happened when Croatia actually declared independence on 25th of June of 1991. That is a big date, and Franjo Tuđman actually became the first president of the independent Croatia, which we see today. As you can see it here on the right on the map, this is Croatia as we have it today. We were talking about Dalmatia, about Istria. So just to give you an idea of what parts of the country is Dalmatia, what is the Istria, and what is inside the inland of Croatia. So if you follow my mouse here, this right here is Istria region, okay, and this is the Kvarner Gulf, and down here is Dalmatia. This is the Dalmatia, and inland starts from here, right, and it goes all the way up here to Zagreb, Čakovec, and all the way to the east to Vukovar right here. This Vukovar city is the first city that fell down in our War of Independence. It was totally destroyed. Unfortunately, even today, when people travel there, you can still see some buildings that were never fixed after the war. So this is the city that suffered the most during our War for Independence. So again, this is Istria region right here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Istria region right here. This is the Kvarner, so-called, and this right here is Dalmatia. Our War for Independence was very unpleasant. The Croatia did not have army, because during the Yugoslavia it was Yugoslavian National Army. So once this war started, Croatia started with no army. Pretty much our army and our defense was based on the volunteers who were going into the war, and all the power was actually in Serbia, in Yugoslavia, which then attacked us in Croatia. That war was terrible. I was only 4 or 5 years old. I remember watching the news. I remember people leaving the country. It was very hard time for our country to go through. But the good thing is that today, you can, okay, like I said, you can still see a couple of the cities. You can see some damages still, but most of the cities were recovered. Even Dubrovnik was bombed, unfortunately, during that war, but they fixed it all, and today you can't even tell there was a war. They just did a very nice museum with a lot of pictures from the war that you can see on top of the mountain surge. If you take a cable car all the way up to the top, you can go into the museum and see the pictures from that time, actually, if you're interested into the history. During that war, some of the biggest massacres happened after World War II. So like I said, it was a very tough time for Croatia. In 1992, it's also an important year because diplomatic recognition by the UN. So Croatia was finally accepted into UN, and it was confirmed to be an independent country. Last battle happened. Last battle was so-called Storm, and that is the last battle, and one of the largest battles in Europe after World War II, and that's when the actual war ended. Next important years were in 2009, when Croatia joined NATO, and 2013, I'm sorry, when Croatia actually joined European Union, which we are part of it today as well. So if we go back through the history that we just passed, you can see how Italians and Venetians and firstly Romans in this area right here had a huge influence on Croatia. This part of the country right here was mostly influenced by Austro-Hungarians, so by Austria and Hungary. This here region of Dalmatia and Istria by Romans and Italians over the past. And once we go in more in depth into the regions, I will also go through the architecture that is well connected to some of these times and well preserved sites today, and also under UNESCO protection. So in architecture you can see all these influences that were hitting the country over the past. The next topic that I'm covering is actually food and wine, and through the food and wine you can also see these influences, as well as we will talk now in a minute. So Croatia is actually known to be the country of many regional diversities. Like I said, different regions of Croatia were influenced by different nations over the past. Of course, it makes sense that these countries are going to bring their own culture into the territories that they are governing. So you will see that in the Dalmatia region there was a strong Italian influence, of course. Also, we have outstanding olive oil. It is actually believed, not believed, but proven that Zinfandel, which is a Californian wine, one of the most famous wines here in the United States, actually originated from Croatia. It's believed that in 1820s Zinfandel cuttings were brought into the United States, along with some Italian cuttings as well and Austrian cuttings. So in 1820s it's believed that these types of grapes were brought into the United States from Croatia, and actually first sale of Zinfandel is recorded in 1836 on the US market. This cuisine in Dalmatia is very Mediterranean style, and also you can find a very good prosciutto, and the lamb is served almost in all the taverns, and you will see it's very common. It's usually made roasted or in peka, which I will explain a little later what it is. but it's very, very tasty. We had a fam tour this past September, and I remember we took him to Dugi Otok near Zadar, and we had this small boutique restaurant on top of the hill, and they were just roasting the lamb just for our group. And we had some agents that didn't like lamb before, so they came there, and you know how lamb has a really strong taste and smell, and it smelled really good to them, and they said, okay, let me try this. And when they tried this lamb, they couldn't believe that's actually lamb, and they ate it. They actually ate lamb after telling us that they don't like it, they can't stand the smell, they can't stand the taste, but after they tried this, they actually liked it. So if you don't like lamb, go to Croatia, try our lamb, and then if you don't like it, okay, but there's a big chance that you will actually like it after all. Continental Croatia, which I said was under the most of the time was under the influence of Austro-Hungarians. So you can see a lot of sausages. We make a lot of goulash, which is famous Hungarian dish too. We eat a lot of pork. We do have a lot of cow cheese. In that area, a lot of people produce the food at home. So a lot of sausages are homemade. Most of the people have their own garden, so the salad, the tomatoes, everything is very, very fresh, and farm to the table food is very, very common there. People from Zagreb go outside of the Zagreb or just to buy fresh produce, and people from outside of the Zagreb, which do have their own gardens, usually go into Zagreb's market called Dolac, which is the most famous market in Croatia and in Zagreb in general. Bring those fresh produce to sell to population that live in Zagreb. So this is the area that is totally different in food than if you go to Istria region or if you go to Dalmatia as well. Istria region, on the other side, it's now for years known to be very, very great destination for food and wine, especially for people who like truffles, and the people who like white wine, and people who like olive oil. We do a lot of activities with travelers in this region. This region is great for food and wine, like I said, but it's also great for active tourism. A lot of biking tracks, kayaking, hiking, it's a very nice scenery. But also in regards of the food, going back to food and wine, white Malvasia, it's absolutely amazing wine that you must try if you go there. White and black truffles, both great. Of course, white truffles, if you ever order, if you don't know, white truffles are much more expensive than the black ones, just to be aware of that. And what we do with our clients, we take them truffle huntings with the dogs in the woods, and then after that we do cooking classes with them. We can make a couple dishes with them, but most of the time we do pasta with truffles on top. Istria region was also 2 years in a row named to be the best olive oil region in the world. So definitely, if you go there, try their olive oil. We also, what we are organizing, we take people to pick the olives. It's end of September, beginning of October period, and they make their own olive oil and they take it home. So this is another thing that can be done in this region as well. These are some Croatian traditional dishes. Like I said, roasted lamb, especially in Dalmatia. Then on the other side we have pašticada, which if you go to Split, it's very famous. Just ask for pašticada, you will definitely get it, and it's right here if you can see it. It's actually a beef meat which is slow cooked in one of the sauces, and it's usually served with homemade pasta. It's very delicious. Then next dish, which is very famous, it's called zagrebački, and it got the name out of the capital city, Zagreb. I'm sure you all heard of Wiener Schnitzel, right? The Austrian dish. But this is made out of a wheel, and it's like a Wiener Schnitzel, but it's actually filled with ham and cheese inside, and then it's deep fried. It's absolutely delicious. You can make it with original recipe. It's with veal, but a lot of people make it with pork or with chicken or even with turkey. So don't get surprised if you can see it in various combinations as well. The next dish is peka. It's right here. The peka is actually dish where you have this bell, right? This pot where you fill it up with potatoes, a lot of vegetables. Usually what we put it's tomatoes, onions, and then you can either put octopus and calamari, or you can also put like a lamp or a wheel. You close it up with the bell and you push it into the fire, and when you push it into the fire you cover it all in with hot ashes, and it needs to slow cook like that for hour and a half, 2 hours in its own juices, and it's absolutely so tender and so soft after you take it out. It's delicious. So this is definitely a dish that you must try if you go to Dalmatia region, anywhere in Dalmatia. Just ask for peka. Usually you have to pre-order it, but if you go in a high season, there's a big opportunity that they're gonna have already cooked samples that you can order just on the spot as you go. The last traditional dish, of course there's many more, but I just pointed out these 5 to be I would say my favorite. Maybe I'm biased, but these are my favorite, and I think these are the dishes that you should definitely try. And the last dish, it's zagorski štrukli. It's usually served as a dessert or as an appetizer, and what it is, it's a creamy, very sticky dessert, and it's made out of dough and filled with a mixture of cottage cheese and eggs. Then it's baked. It's very I like it hot. Some people do, some like it cold, but I like it hot, and it's a very nice dessert for especially for people who like cheese. You're wanna take some for the road as well if you like cheese. So these are the 5 traditional dishes that I would suggest everybody to try once you travel to Croatia. If you don't get to travel all over the country, there is a big possibility that you can try all these traditional dishes in any of the restaurants around the Croatia. In Dalmatia, I'm 100% sure that you can try zagorski štrukli there, or you can try pašticada, lamb, zagrebački. So all these dishes can probably be tried all over the country. Are they going to be authentic and the best? I cannot guarantee that. It really depends where you go, but you can definitely get the feeling of how is the dish made and what it is all about. Next and last subtopic that I'm going to be talking here about is when to go to Croatia. So to better understand high, low and shoulder season, the best time to really travel is anywhere between April and October. July and August are the high season, high price and the highest crowds. So if you actually have that freedom to suggest, and if your clients are flexible on the dates, I would try to avoid these high season months, which are July and August. Best times to travel, I would say, is May and June, and then September. Why September? All the Germans and Europeans, people who go there with family for family vacations with kids, are back. So kids are back in school, so less crowds. Of course, you're still gonna witness large amounts of cruise ships coming in, but it's already slowed down. So September for me is the best time to travel. You can swim, weather is beautiful, less crowds, but also at that time it's a grape harvest, olive harvest, and it's a truffle season. So if you're a foodie or you like wine, I think that is the best time to travel to Croatia. You will witness truffle festivals. You will witness a lot of food and wine festivals in general, especially in the regions which are very famous for its wine. They have local wine festivals, and if you want to just go there and witness the local life, that is definitely the best time to do so. If you're by any chance traveling during the winter times, so let's say December and January, definitely recommend going into Zagreb and recommending to your clients to visit winter Christmas market in Zagreb. For 2 years in a row, it was decided to be, and it was voted to be the best Christmas market in Europe. So beating Vienna, beating all the Austrians and Germans festivals. So I think this is a very the Zagreb is a very up and coming destination. It's rising year after year, and it's a great time to be there. A lot of activities, a lot of concerts, a lot of food and wine, a lot of everything fun to be around. Also, if you go there for a couple days, visit Plitvice Lakes, which are just nearby, and also nowadays Split and Dubrovnik are also working on bringing up the Christmas markets, so you can, for very good value, so for very cheap, because that is totally off season, you can, if you're not going into Croatia for beach and for swimming in the sea, and just want to see the architecture, the UNESCO sites, you want to just experience the destination, you can still do that in winter and save a lot of money to your clients if you recommend them they travel there during the winter times. Just to give you an example, for the package that goes for let's say 7 to 10 days for $2,500 to $3,000, during the winter time you can even get it for half price, so $1,500. That's how much money and how much value your clients can get if they travel totally off season during the winter times. Just to give you a general idea of average temperatures in Zagreb, for example, throughout the year. So as you can see, July and August, that's the highest months also, so the busiest and the highest months in temperature. The continental Croatia has the continental climate, and then once you go on the sea coast, you will experience Mediterranean climate. So Mediterranean climates, what it means hot summers and mild winters. If you go into the region of Zagreb, it's cold during the winter, it snows, so we have 4 seasonings. It's hot summers and it's pretty strong winters, even though now in the past couple of years the snow, it's been very rare, but for example now it's actually really cold. So we have 4 seasons, so it does get freezing temperatures in Zagreb during the winters, and then during the July and August, as you can see, it goes up to the 80s on average. In Split, if you can see, also July and August, the warmest months of all. During the summer it goes up to 84s, but it gets higher than that, and let me tell you, it really does. This is just like an average, but it does get higher than that. And then if you see the lowest temperatures in January and December, anywhere between the lowest average is anywhere between 25 and 36, and then it can go higher, especially depends on the year, but it does get higher than that. So during the winters it can be very, very pleasant. For example, in 2016, so last year, people were still swimming in November. Like it does get really, really warm in that area during the winter as well. Average temperatures in Dubrovnik are even higher than in Split, as you can see. Again, July and August, the highest month in temperature. The lowest months are again January and December, but you can see that it doesn't get to the freezing point. So in Dubrovnik, even the coldest season, it gets anywhere between 40s and 50s in January and December, and then it gets up to 85s. It gets into the 90s as well over the summer too. So this is probably going to give you a better idea of when to travel, how is the weather in Croatia, when to recommend, and also it gives you an overview of the history and food. I hope this was somewhat interesting to you, that you got some insightful information about the history, culture, and that this is going to give you a nice introduction for the later webinars as we proceed into more details about each of the destinations and the regions of Croatia that we will cover in the next webinars. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching and listening.